Hi and welcome everybody. Today I'm going to be doing a video request on Microsoft Excel 2016 and how to pass your MOS Excel exam. So Emily asks, can you maybe do a video on the functions that we're going to encounter on the MOS test and how they might be seen in geometrics? So I just did a video on geometrics. Make sure you check that out if you haven't already. And then let's take a look at what we're going to see on the MOS exam. If you're not aware, the MOS exam is the certification exam for Microsoft Excel, and basically I took this test last week, and so I'm going to go over what I encountered on that test and the best practices for you to make sure that you could pass that test, as well as what you're going to see on it. So let's take a look at my screen here, and you can see that I have a spreadsheet right here. What's on the spreadsheet isn't too important, but these functions and different things that I'm going to cover throughout this video are basically what you're going to see on the MOS exam. So just to get us started, the first thing that you might not know where it's at is it asks you to change the backstage title to something else. You can find that in the File tab, and you just go right here to Title, and I'll just call it MOS Prep. Whatever they ask you to change it to in the exam is fine. You just go right there, you change it, you press Enter, and you'll get the points for that version or that part of the exam. Another area that it asks you to change that's not necessarily a function or formula is right here. It'll ask you to basically hyperlink a website. So if I wanted to make a website for City of Pacifica Bay, I would type out City of Pacifica Bay right there, and then I would go to Insert, Tab, Links Group, and click Hyperlink. Okay. In the test, it'll bring up a page that looks like this, and you can display the text that you want to display right there. And then right down here, you would display that website. So you would just type in the website that it tells you to in the exam. So I'll just type in whatever website. You click OK, and then you'll see it'll change to the hyperlink. Okay, so that's a little bit about the backstage view and the hyperlink. Now let's look at some of the different things that it asks us in terms of the formulas and functions that you need to cover. So one of the ones that kind of gets people a little confused is it asks you in the test for the average over a specific number. And so I put that inside of this column here. And so basically we have our quarter 1 through 4 sales, and then we have all of these different products over here. So let's say I wanted to get the average sale for every sale that's over 400,000. Well, right here, I would click inside this cell, and I'm going to create an average if formula. So I'm going to go to the formulas tab. It's in my recently used, and it's right there, average if. You could probably find it also in the more functions statistical area, and then you go down to average if. You click that. Then it's going to ask you for the range that you want to choose. So you'll choose the range that is in your test. In this case, I want quarter 1 through quarter 4 for salary and benefits. And then the criteria, I'm going to basically just tell it to look for everything over 400,000, right? Okay. And then I click OK, and it's going to give me the average for all of the numbers that are over 400,000. In this case, that's all of them, but down here, we'll see that formula will work out a little bit differently. So we see that since there's no numbers above 400,000 here, it says you can't divide by 0. Same thing here. So you should see the difference between the two, and that shows you a little bit about what average if does, as well as really how to work that function and complete that function. All right, so let's see here. Let's also take a look at the what it asks us to do in terms of if functions, okay? And also let's look at one of the main functions before that. Let's look at the auto sum. So if you highlight an entire area plus the one below it, or the one to the side, one cell to below or one cell to the side, you could use auto sum. So you just go to Home tab, Editing Group, and you click auto sum, and it's going to fill in all of those numbers. Okay. Now keep in mind this number is not going to work right there because you can't divide by 0, so I'll just get rid of that. But now we have our total numbers for quarters 1 through 4, and then one of the functions that it definitely has in the MOS test is the if function. So let's see where we would find that. You're going to go ahead and click on this area for goal status, and you'll see that right here. Let's say I had a goal of 2.3 million, okay? And so I want to hit that 2.3 million goal, based off of this number right here. So I would go to the Formulas tab. I would go to recently used, but you could also find it in logical and go to if. Now if is definitely on the MOS test, so you'll do a logical test. All right, and so you'll see right here, I'll click on the cell that I want it to be based off of, and so that's B10. And so if B10 is larger than 2.3 million, if that's true, then my goal was a success. Success. And my goal is a failure if that is not true. I'm going to spell that right. So there we go. All right. So you see how that's set up right there. And then you can basically see that right there, it should come back with a failure, right? So I click OK. And then I see failure is now shown right there. Now you could take that formula, use the autofill, move it all the way down through your 4 quarters, success, failure, so on and so forth. All right, so that's how an if function works. Now finally, it's going to ask you to do conditional formatting. So make sure that you do know how to do conditional formatting before you take the MOS test. I have a video on conditional formatting, so make sure that you check that out if you haven't already done that. And then let's take a look at how conditional formatting works. So I'll select these 4 cells right here, and I'll go to the Home tab. And in the Styles group, you're going to see this button for conditional formatting. Now basically, I want it to return a positive conditional format if it's a success and a negative if it's a failure. So I'm going to go to conditional formatting, and I'll choose Highlight Cells Rules, and then I'll go Text that contains. And any text that contains the word success should be basically with a green fill or something positive, right? So I go to green fill, and now we see every time that word success appears down there, we're going to get that green fill. And now let's do the same for failure, only with a red fill. So text that contains, and I'm going to type in the word failure. Oops, failure. And then I'll make that one light red fill. Keep in mind, in the test, it might ask you to do a custom format, and you could do that right there, and you could change it to whatever style that you want in that area. But for this one, to keep the video short, I'm just going to do a red to show success and failure and how that looks with conditional formatting. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a graph and show you the different graph or chart options that it's going to have, or questions that it will have in the MOS test. So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so you can see more of the screen. And I'm going to just create a column chart based off of this. Okay, so I'm going to go to the Insert tab, and then I'm going to go to Charts, and I'll just choose a column chart, one that looks good. We'll just do that one. All right, so in the test, it definitely asks you to change the chart title. So I'll click right there on Chart Title, and I'll just call it yearly, yearly sales. Okay, and so that's how you change the chart title. You just type it out and press enter. And then let's say we click back on our chart area. Now what it will ask you to do is change something down here. So let's say I wanted to change quarter 1, quarter 2, and quarter 3, and quarter 4 to just say Q1, 2, 3, and 4. How I would do that is I go to the Chart Tools Design tab, and I go over here to the Data group, and I click on Select Data. And then I could actually edit these quarter numbers. So instead of it saying quarter 1, I'm just going to type Q1 as the series name. And then I'll do it with these other ones as well. You click on quarter 2, you click edit, and you do Q2. Click on quarter 3, edit, Q3, so on and so forth. And you can see that it's changing in the graph below as well. So they will ask you to change the series name in the MOS exam. So now that that one's done, that one's looking good. And so now let's also take a look at how they want you to format tables. Okay, so I'm just going to create a table right here. And let's say I create a table based off of, let's go with all of this information right here. Okay, now it'll ask you to create a table. And so you go to Insert tab and Table. And so I created a table right there. My table has headers. And so now it turns it into a table. All right, so inside this table, it might ask you to display a total row. You just click right there on Table Tools Design tab, Table Style Options, and you choose Total Row. You could use this total row to total up different areas, like, you know, maybe count the different number of or let's see, what would the maximum in all of the quarters, and you could use this total row to do different things like that. So it will ask you to use the total row. It will also ask you to create banded rows right here. And so home tab, or sorry, table tools, design tab, banded rows, you can turn those on and off. And you can see how those make the chart appear with different colors in between each row. Okay, so I'll just leave them on. And then finally, it'll ask you to remove duplicates. So let's say I look through here on column 1 and I wanted to say, hey, let's remove any duplicates. So you could go to Tables, Tools, Design tab, Tools group, remove duplicates, and it'll look through all the columns and remove the duplicates. Okay, in this case I had no duplicates. In the MOS test you will have some duplicates to remove. Okay, all right, so that should help you out with everything that you need to know for a table, except you also need to know how to convert that table back to a range. So go to Table Tools Design tab under the Tools group and you click Convert to Range, and that'll just remove it back to normal cells. So there we go. Finally, as far as charts and spark lines go, we're going to go to this area that I put down here called Column Spark Line. And let's say I wanted to create a spark line for it. I would go to the Insert tab, Spark Lines group, create a column spark line, and then I could choose that data range of quarters 1 through 4. Click OK, and it'll ask you to do that. And that gives you a little graph just to show on one page there, or on one cell rather. And you can copy that down to check out all of the different spark lines throughout that area. So that should be everything that you need to know for spark lines. And then finally, let's say that you have to have rows that repeat at the top. For instance, you got to print this out, or you print out a large piece of data, and let's say we wanted row 4 to repeat at the top of every time we print. Then I would go to the Page Layout tab, and I would go to the Page Setup group dialog box in the bottom right of that group. And then right here under the Sheet tab, I would click Rows to Repeat at Top, and then I click column 4, or sorry, excuse me, row 4 right there, and now that'll repeat at the top every single time that I do a print preview. Okay, all right, good deal. So I tried to get through that kind of quickly. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helps you out for your MOS exam. That's pretty much the formulas that I could think of off the top of my head that you're going to definitely need to know how to use for the MOS test that you have coming up. So Emily, thank you so much for the question. I hope this helps you out. And for everybody else, give the video a thumbs up. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, and you can have a video request yourself if you just put something in the comment box below, and I can make a video based off of your question. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you tune in again soon.